we have a subject where there are concepts, but at the same time, there is a lot that is required for, memorization. There are a lot of facts. There is a lot of current affairs that gets involved in this. And as Shubham was very correctly pointing out, that it looks like anything and everything can be asked, particularly in this subject. So today we have with us Neetu ma'am. Neetu ma'am is somebody who has extensive experience with this exam. And not just that, she has a lot of experience with highlighting the most important aspects of what needs to be done. Because with civil services, we can do anything and everything. There is no end to it. However, there are a few things that if you focus on, they improve your results. And Neetu ma'am over here is an expert in that. She is somebody who has cleared prelims with 125 marks in the last couple of years when cutoffs have been around 88, 90. Then she has been scoring 125 and more than that. And in today's session, she'll break down how do you approach the subject of environment. There is a lot of memorization. What are those things that you need to focus on? What is the core idea of this subject? Neetu ma'am is going to break down for you. And over to you, Neetu ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good evening, everyone. Please confirm if I'm audible and visible to you all. Okay. Okay, so I'm audible to most of you. Good evening, everyone. Okay, so I will share my screen and we will begin with the session. So I came for this session because environment is a subject that requires strategy over static or dynamic studies. So study is very important. You need to prepare, you read the books and everything. Moreover, you need a strategy. This is a subject where in prelims question, you need to apply your logic and you need to break down the question, understand the language, and then get to the answer. So here I will also give you a demo and will explain how the questions look like in the exam and how you can approach the subject. That is why I have chosen where you can build a strategy with me. So to begin, I will share my screen first. So please confirm.
Just a small interjection over here. Ma'am, your screen is coming and it's visible. For anybody who wants to ask some specific questions that you want ma'am to take up, please put them in the Q&A section. In the chat, obviously, there might be, ma'am will ask some questions, yes or no. So therefore, your question might get lost. Please put your questions in the Q&A and ma'am can take it up towards the end. And Ramraj, I think if you can exit and rejoin, that might resolve the echo issue. Over to you, ma'am.
Okay. So yes, we are going to answer all the questions. Please put it in a Q&A. And the best book and everything, we will be answering all of those questions. Don't worry. This session is to solve the problems of what, why, where, and how. All the questions will be answered. Have patience and we will start the session. So, okay, this is going to give you everything that you need to know for 2027 or even beyond 28 or any other attempt if you're planning. So, I will give you all the book list and sources. So let's first understand what the subject of environment looks like, what are the problems associated with it. And the most important thing is that it is important yet ignored subject. And why it is important and why it is ignored, we will discuss that also. We need to understand the importance of a subject before jumping into the resources or how to approach, how many questions to attempt. All of these questions will come later. First of all, we need to understand whether we actually need to study environment with a seriousness or it can be ignored. So let me show why it is an important subject. Okay. So to understand the importance of any subject, most important thing is to look at the number of questions that are asked. So this is the analysis of prelims paper, prelims questions. So in last 10 years, on an average, there is 18 to 20 questions. So you can say that 18 is the average questions. And prelims is a 100-question paper. There are 100 questions in the prelims paper and 18 means approx 20%. तो आप 20% तो ignore नहीं कर सकते हो. And why people ignore it? Because it is difficult to score these marks. And let me tell you one thing. ये paper may be आपको selection दिलाए या नहीं दिलाए. But most people who get eliminated in the examination because they make silly mistakes or they ignore the subject altogether. So to get comfortably above the cutoff, you need to prepare environment thoroughly and very well. But you don't need to worry. We will break down everything. So first thing is that it makes approx 20% of the prelims paper, and it helps you in other subjects also, like geography or science maybe. So how many of you know that the exam of civil services is a combined examination which includes the forest, which Abhijit sir also discussed? How many of you are aware that it is not just a civil services prelims? It is called civil services and forest services. Okay. Okay. Preliminary is same. So since the forest exam is also conducted, this is a combined prelims. That is why the weightage of environment question and the difficulty is slightly higher. So I'm very glad to see that many of you are aware and you have done the basic research. So well done. So since the forest is also taken together, that is why the quality of questions and the difficulty level is slightly higher to accommodate the requirements of the forest service as well. So that is why environment weightage and difficulty is slightly on a higher side. So for the prelims, it is very important. You need to do it to be comfortable to clear the cutoff. Let's talk about the mains examination. So let me ask another question. How many of you are aware that environment is a part of which GS paper in mains? Let me see who has done the research. So there are 4 GS papers and environment is, oh, very glad to see that you all know that GS3, right? So in GS3, the environment subject comes for approx 40 or 35 marks. 35 तो है average, 35 तो आना ही है. It can be 40 also. Okay. So generally there are total environment and disaster management together. Generally there are 4 questions, 2 15 marker, 2 15 marker and 2 10 markers. So in this, one question is of disaster management. It can be 10 marker or a 15 marker, and other 3 questions are generally environment. So it sometimes makes 40 marks and sometimes it makes 35 marks. Okay. So mains mein also, and GS3 entire paper is 250 marks. So it makes again 20, approx 20%, 1/5 of the paper, which is close to 50 marks. Okay, so we are seeing that it is a very major part of the paper. And in the session, I will show you, it is not restricted to GS3 only. So environment information will help you at every stage and in multiple papers also. So we have understood the importance of the paper. And I hope now you guys are feeling कि ये important तो है, पढ़ना पड़ेगा. Because prelims में भी almost 20% आ रहा है और GS3 का भी 20% environment cover कर रहा है. Okay. So I am seeing yes in the comments that it is an important subject. फिर इतना important है तो ignore क्यों कर रहे हैं लोग? जैसे start of the session में अभिजीत सर ने पूछा कि how many of you like the subject of environment and you find it easy? बहुत सारे लोग it's difficult, syllabus seems vast, कैसे खत्म ही नहीं हो रहा है, it looks infinite, there is no source, it is random. Somewhere it is true, but I will tell you, doing pattern analysis and studying in a structured manner makes any subject doable. I will not say it's an easy subject. It definitely requires you to have some concepts. However, it can be made doable, and I will try to break down it for you now. Okay. So it is dynamic. Why dynamic? First of all, environment as a subject, like we realized the importance of environment and climate change quite late. Maybe in 90s and all, where first major conference happened, where conventions and all came. So environment is a little new subject and it is evolving. For example, climate change. So we personally in our lives feel the impact of climate change. For example, in India, in the month of April and May, we are facing the heat waves, etc. And आप सोचो 5 years, 10 years back, इतना heat waves का issue नहीं feel होता था. So climate change and everything is an evolving concept. And the countries across the globe are discussing this issue on a regular basis. So that is why this subject is dynamic. And we need to build new technologies, clean technology. There is recurrent research and development going on. So that is why this is a dynamic subject. Difficulty because it requires little technical understanding. For example, you will read about pollution in climate change. There you can read about acid rain or air pollution. You have to read the names of some chemicals, like which chemicals are causing air pollution or acid rain. So little chemistry is involved, some science is involved in the clean technology. So that is why the subject looks slightly difficult. However, I see that many people find it interesting also. So if studied with interest, you will enjoy the subject. You have to be focused, but you will enjoy the subject. It is not very easy like maybe polity, where you understand things very easily, but you have to put in little effort. That is why people think कि चलो अब कौन मेहनत करे, इतना difficult है. So that is one of the reasons. Then good resource. For example, for polity, you have one stop solution. क्या है पॉलिटी का, आप लोगों को पता है? क्या सोर्स आप फॉलो करेंगे पॉलिटी के लिए? आई थिंक लेट्स सी. सो एवरीबडी नोज पॉलिटी के लिए क्या फॉलो करना है. ओके, एक स्टैंडर्ड बुक है, राइट? सेम ज्योग्राफी अगर कहें तो 4 आपको एनसीईआरटीज पढ़नी है, वो तो मस्ट है. एंड देयर इज जीसी लियोंग, गुड बुक, एटलिस है, इससे आप कर सकते हो. इकोनॉमी सब्जेक्ट ऑल्सो हैड दिस प्रॉब्लम of not having a proper one-stop solution. But Ketan sir's economy handbook has solved that problem. तो केतन हैंडबुक जो है ये आपको इकोनॉमी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली करा देगा. तो इकोनॉमी का भी सॉल्व हो गया अपना इशू. हिस्ट्री के लिए भी एनसीईआरटीज हैं, देयर आर सम बुक्स विच आर गुड, वी नो दैट. बट एनवायरमेंट के लिए वन स्टॉप सोल्यूशन नहीं है. And also we just keep running behind multiple sources and we are unable to figure out one stop solution. So I will tell how we can approach whatever is available in the market or whichever is the standard source there. I will help you to choose the good sources. We will discuss that. But this is one of the reasons why this subject seems difficult. Because लक्ष्मीकांत पूरा रट लिया तो काम खत्म हो गया. लेकिन एनवायरमेंट में अगर आपने some of you are saying शंकर आईएएस, तो शंकर आईएएस पढ़ लिया, फिर लगता है कि इट इज वेरी स्टैटिक और क्वेश्चन कुछ और ही आ रहे हैं. सो यू आर नॉट एबल टू आंसर द क्वेश्चंस आस्क्ड इन द एग्जामिनेशन. दैट इज व्हाई थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाता है इसको कंप्लीटली किसी एक सोर्स पे रिलाई करना. बट वी विल डिस्कस हाउ वी कैन यूज द रिसोर्सेज टू गेट द करेक्ट output from the whatever is available. Then the big problem is strategy and structure. So you read in a very random manner. There should be one structure to read. Let me explain it with example. Suppose there is what you need to read in environment. First you need to know the basic concepts. Okay, so when you understand basic what is environment, first you need to know environment, ecology and everything. When you understand this, thereafter you need to understand why environment, how environment is getting polluted. So you will read about pollution. Then you can read about how this pollution is impacting biodiversity. And thereafter this biodiversity is getting affected and impacted, then we need to conserve it. And how to conserve it? We need to have a cooperation for that. We need to have a global conventions and cooperations. And after global discussion, we need to implement it at our national level through the laws. So if you read it in this structured manner, you will be able to understand what you are reading. Because there are so many words, conventions, that there will be agreements that you will read in the subject. However, you will not be able to relate to it. So this is how a structure should be. And I will show this structure again when we will talk about the syllabus. Okay, so the strategy and structure is missing. It is unclear. So when you start the subject of environment, you have to sit down, have to finalize some sources, you have to finalize the flow of study, and then you should begin your preparation. And most important, you should stick to your strategy and follow that strategy instead of running behind multiple sources. And if you get any queries or you're not sure about the strategy, you can get it reviewed by your mentors, or you can ask somebody, or you can reach out to us also to confirm if your strategy is correct. And after this video, after this webinar, I believe you will be able to build that strategy clearly. And then one more reason why this looks difficult, because it requires inter-subject concept. For example, I will show this through PYQs in few minutes. For example, if there is a question on hydrogen cell or hydrogen as a new energy, this is a clean technology. However, it requires some understanding of chemistry, which is generally studied in science and technology. But it is a topic of clean technology. So, do you read it in environment or do you read it in science? I would say both. You need to understand the mechanism, how the technology will work in science, but why the technology is needed in environment. Why we need clean technology? Because there is climate change, it is affecting people and biodiversity. So, it is a inter-subject concepts are needed. Same, it overlaps with the subject of geography, where suppose a biosphere reserve is a arrangement where the biodiversity is conserved in a natural habitat. So suppose biosphere reserve is there in some part of the country, and the question comes whether it is a temperate region or alpine or something like that. This you study in geography, but about biosphere reserve you generally study in environment. So you need to have some understanding of geography, and then you can build over the concepts in environment subject. Is this making sense to you all? Tell me yes or no. Okay. 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 So you all are saying yes. Glad to know that. So now I have explained that it is an important and you all agree with me. And then I have also showed that it is difficult and people ignore it because of the difficulties. They are unable to face the difficulties. So I will give you two strategic tools. ये सबसे ज्यादा सुना हुआ सबसे क्लीशेड होगा कि सिलेबस और प्रीवियस ईयर क्वेश्चंस। किसी से भी पूछो यूपीएससी करना है, सीरियसली करना है तो कैसे करेंगे? एक बार सिलेबस देख लो और पीवाईक्यूज देख लो। व्हाई पीपल से दैट? बिकॉज सिलेबस आपको बताता है कि कितना पढ़ना है, व्हाट इज द बाउंड्री, बिकॉज देर इज नो एंड टू एनवायरमेंट एंड सिंस इट इज इवॉल्विंग हाउ मच विल यू रीड. So that is why you need syllabus. So you will have some pointers in the syllabus, which I will break it down for you. Why you should look at PYQs? To identify the themes, how the questions are asked. For example, syllabus will tell you a keyword biodiversity. So you know what biodiversity means, what all you can read. You will read the meaning of it. You will read many biodiversity, flora, fauna, how to conserve it, what is impacting it. There are so many things. Many research paper, PhDs are going on multiple biodiversity के ऊपर. तो पीवाईक्यू क्या बताएगा, रुकना कहाँ है एंड विच एरियाज टू फोकस. तो इट विल टेल यू फोकस एरियाज एग्जैक्ट. तो बायोडाइवर्सिटी में जैसे आ जाता है कोई पर्टिकुलर एनिमल, फॉर एग्जांपल लायन, चीता, or a conservation effort, some Ramsar site or national park. So you know that okay, conservation पूछते हैं and conservation में Ramsar sites या wetlands बहुत पूछते हैं. Don't worry if you guys don't know what is Ramsar site, what is wetland. These are the terms, these are the places जहाँ पे biodiversity को या किसी natural habitat को प्रिजर्व किया जाता है. आप लोगों ने नेशनल पार्क, टाइगर रिजर्व, ये नेम्स तो सुने होंगे आई होप इन योर डे टू डे लाइफ. तो पीवाईक्यू से आपको सिलेबस से एग्जैक्टली क्या पढ़ना है एंड द फोकस एरिया यू विल बी एबल टू फिगर आउट. सो दीज आर गोइंग टू बी आर स्ट्रेटेजिक टूल्स. और एनवायरमेंट में जो स्ट्रेटेजी मिसिंग है वो ये है कि सिलेबस को ब्रेक डाउन नहीं कर पाते हम थ्रू द पीवाईक्यू. सो व्हाट आई विल डू फॉर यू, आई विल ब्रेक डाउन द सिलेबस through the lens of PYQ so that you understand the focus areas and you study the exact thing that is required instead of worrying and panicking. Okay, so shall we start breaking down the syllabus for you guys? Okay, so let's begin. So first we will go stage wise, prelims, and then we will look at the main syllabus also. So this is entire prelim syllabus, paper 1 GS. So there are many subjects like current affairs, history, geography. So this is environment. And let me read the syllabus for you. General issues on environmental ecology. ये कुछ एक part हुआ. This is 1. Biodiversity. This is 2. And climate change. This is 3. 3 word बोला है. और आई थिंक वन ऑफ द रीजन टू इग्नोर दिस सब्जेक्ट इज यूपीएससी ने सिलेबस में लिख के दिया है दैट डू नॉट रिक्वायर सब्जेक्ट स्पेशलाइजेशन, बट वेन यू विल रीड द क्वेश्चन पीवाईक्यूज आपको लगेगा कि थोड़ा तो पढ़ना पड़ेगा। दैट डू नॉट रिक्वायर सब्जेक्ट स्पेशलाइजेशन को ज्यादा सीरियस नहीं लेना है, यू नीड टू प्रिपेयर फॉर इट बिकॉज क्वेश्चंस नहीं समझ आएंगे अगर आपने ढंग से पढ़ा नहीं। सो दीज आर द थ्री टॉपिक्स। इश्यूज पूछा है, इश्यूज ऑन एनवायरमेंटल इकोलॉजी, बायोडाइवर्सिटी एंड क्लाइमेट चेंज। दीज आर वेरी वाइड, very vast topics, so we need to break it down, we need to understand कि ये general issues on environmental ecology में पढ़ना क्या है, क्योंकि ये बहुत वाइड है। अब हम पता कैसे करें? ये फर्स्ट टूल तो देख लिया, नाउ वी नीड टू गो टू पीवाईक्यूज। तो एक काम करते हैं, ये 3 वर्ड्स तो इन्होंने लिख के दे दिए, लेट्स ब्रेक इट डाउन, लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड कि इसमें क्या पढ़ेंगे एग्जैक्टली। आई विल आंसर योर क्वेश्चंस, प्लीज Q&A में डाल दीजिए, लास्ट में इसको करते हैं। एंड बीच बीच में इफ देर इज एनी डाउट विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू सिलेबस, विथ रिस्पेक्ट टू प्रेजेंट स्लाइड, अपन वो डिस्कस कर सकते हैं। ओके, Q&A में डालिए, लास्ट में आई विल गिव यू अ टाइम टू डिस्कस द क्वेश्चन एंड आंसर्स। सो फर्स्ट वी आर डिकोडिंग द सिलेबस। ओके, तो फर्स्ट क्या था? जनरल इश्यूज ऑन एनवायरमेंटल इकोलॉजी, दिस वाज द टर्म गिवन इन द सिलेबस। तो क्या पूछ रहे हैं? तो दीज आर द पीवाईक्यूज जो इस टॉपिक को सूट करते हैं। तो लुक एट हियर, दिस इज आस्किंग सिंपल डेफिनेशन ऑफ इकोसिस्टम। So generally, if you pick up any book, this is given in the first chapter or maybe first 5 pages में आप ये पढ़ लोगे। So we can say they are asking some basic terms. Then this is some species or given, and it is asking food chain. So one question on food chain, ये भी basic part का आता है, basic concepts में this is taught in environment. Then there is something called biological oxygen demand, BOD. So this is also one concept जो initial basic concept का part है। तो एक theme तो हमें समझ आ गई कि हमें basic concepts पढ़ना है। And when I discussed about the structuring, this is what I told, syllabus का first point and उससे हमें basic concepts पढ़ना है। We need to know what is ecosystem, how food chain work, what is BOD, and more terms are there. I do not want to overwhelm you, but there are more terms like ecotone, niche, habitat. You need to know their meanings. One reason, एक तो question आए हैं, second that it will help you understand the more topics, the advanced topics, so it will build your base. तो first syllabus point से एक theme तो basic concepts है। Let's see the second. The topic is issues on environment. Issues में सबसे बड़ा issue जो है वो है pollution. तो second topic जो है वो है pollution, like the second theme within the syllabus point. So for example here, these are the some chemicals or the gases given, and it is asking which of the above will be released into the atmosphere. That means क्या pollution create करेंगे these gases. It is asking about some benzene pollution. Here there is a question on air quality or air pollution. So if you will analyze the PYQ, you will see that pollution, and in pollution, air pollution is a very important theme. So because Delhi में भी अभी बहुत air pollution का discussions हो रहे हैं, there are policies coming up, there are some technologies being developed to tackle the problem of air pollution. So that is why air pollution पे questions भी आपको ज़्यादा दिखेंगे. So this is one more theme. So pollution is also one theme. This is how you are supposed to decode the syllabus. Okay, so this is one more thing, pollution. Now the second point, this is biodiversity, right? This was the second point in the prelim syllabus. Biodiversity में they have given some organisms and they have asking parasitoid species. So some species and their behavior or what kind of species they are, this is being asked. We are not going to read and solve the question. We are just picking the theme for you. Okay. There is some other question where they are asking about the behavior. This is called animal behavior. So this have been one theme जो last 4-5 years से यूपीएससी थोड़ा एनिमल बिहेवियर में इंक्लाइंड है, पूछ रहा है। These are sometimes difficult, sometimes static में से आता है। So this is a question about the animals who roll up and protect their vulnerable parts. So there are few animals, they roll up and they protect their vulnerable parts from the predators. This is the behavior of animal, and these are the species who which are the parasitoid. This is the question, and here the question is asked about how many of these species can survive without soil. So there is some concept called there is one concept called pioneer species in ecological succession. ये भी biodiversity का basic concepts में आता है. But we understand that in biodiversity, the basics of biodiversity, animals, species and behavior. These are the two themes that we have picked. Okay. So biodiversity में एक तो ये पूछा एनिमल स्पीशीज ऑर्गेनिजम्स के बारे में पूछते हैं. सो वी नीड टू बी अलर्ट, वी नीड टू रीड इफ देयर इज सम एनिमल. फॉर एग्जाम्पल चीताज जब आए थे, चीताज वर रीइंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन इंडिया. So are you all aware that cheetahs were reintroduced in India? Which year they were reintroduced? Anyone aware of this? कूनो नेशनल पार्क इज राइट. नहीं, 25 तो अभी हो गया, इतना जल्दी नहीं. राइट, नामीबिया इज परफेक्ट. ओ ग्रेट. राइट, 22 में था, सितंबर 2022 में. सो फ्रॉम नामीबिया ही हम लेकर आए थे. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल चीताज, अभी आप लोग सबको पता, बिकॉज इट वॉज सच अ बिग न्यूज. आई एम अज्यूमिंग कि आप लोग 22 में प्रिपेयर नहीं कर रहे थे, बट स्टिल यू आर अवेयर बिकॉज इट वॉज सच अ बिग न्यूज. सो वी नीड टू be aware that which animals are in news, why they are in news, that you need to prepare because ये syllabus में है और आ रहा है under the topic biodiversity. Okay, so one theme we have understood is species and animal behavior. Now let's look at another theme associated with biodiversity. It is about conservation, conserving the biodiversity. How do you conserve it? Through the reserves or the protection mechanisms like national parks or biosphere reserves or the wetlands. This is how wetlands may generally it is for the birds and many animals there. It's a very rich place where many biodiversity is protected. So wetlands, biosphere reserve. So these are the places where we can protect them. So first of all, if you think in a structured manner, so you need to know animals. फिर ये है वेयर मतलब कहाँ, ये तो हु हो गया ना, हु आर द एनिमल्स. देन यू हैव टू नो वेयर टू प्रोटेक्ट देम, वेयर टू प्रिजर्व देम, so give them protection. So where to protect them? You can protect them in a protected areas like national park or biosphere reserve. Then why would anyone protect it? We need to have some mechanisms which are legal mechanisms in place. लीगल ऑब्लिगेशंस होना चाहिए तभी कोई काम करता है. सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल दिस इज सम इंटरनेशनल कन्वेंशन, ट्रेड रिलेटेड एनालिसिस ऑफ फौना एंड फ्लोरा इन कॉमर्स. तो ट्रैफिक करके एक है जहां पे एनिमल्स की ट्रेडिंग, फ्लोरा एंड फौना की ट्रेडिंग रेस्ट्रिक्ट की जाती है. तो यू कैन नॉट ट्रेड, जैसे कि आइवोरी का ट्रेड होता है एंड देर आर सो मेनी एनिमल्स एंड उनको ट्रेड किया जाता है क्रॉस बॉर्डर कंट्रीज के, एंड दैट इज इलीगल. उसको मॉनिटर करने के लिए हमारे पास इंटरनेशनली एक ऑर्गेनाइजेशन है विच इज कॉल्ड ट्रैफिक. सो these are the mechanisms and there are some reports or there are some database that is prepared. So we need to know organizations and legal mechanisms that are there to preserve the biodiversity. So our second topic has some three themes. Okay, biodiversity में पहले तो ये देखना है कि animals कौन है. Then second theme is where to protect them, and third theme is the legal mechanism and conventions. So we have decoded that second topic also. These are the things that we need to study, and it is better if you study it in this manner, because when you understand the animal, then you understand the vulnerabilities associated, and then you can have a convention. Okay, now the third topic and the most wide topic, and इसके अंदर तो almost आप सारे ही PYQ add कर सकते हैं. Climate change. It is one of the biggest and most wide term. I think इसका impact सब पर ही होता है, हम पर भी होता है. Our productivity gets reduced, right? So I think many of us are unable to be productive in the summers during the months of May, April. So climate change के impacts, conventions, how to solve it. तो climate change क्या पूछ रहा है UPSC exactly in the prelims, that we need to look. So one thing is that COP, the international mechanism. How many of you are aware of something called COP, which is COP, COP? Tell me if you're aware of this term. Have you heard this term before? Okay, okay, great. Okay, Right, conference of parties. Okay, so to give you a brief idea, simply COP क्या होता है? Conference of parties, जहां पे चलो one more question to you guys. Climate change या global warming, can one single country solve this issue? Yes or no? Can one single country solve the problem of global warming? No. Okay. So we have a consensus amongst us that one country cannot solve it because it is a global problem. Global warming मतलब global ही होगा. तो अगर global problem है तो global solution लाना पड़ेगा. So what is required that all the countries जिनको हम कहते हैं parties, ओके पार्टीज को उस टर्म में लेना है, पार्टी हैं जो आने वाले हैं, हम जो पार्टी करते हैं वो अलग बात है. दीज आर पार्टीज, दीज पार्टीज आर एक्चुअली कंट्रीज. they are going to come together in a conference and they will discuss the issues of climate change and global warming. This is the very simple understanding what COP is. तो ये क्या करते हैं, एवरी ईयर वंस अ ईयर ये मिलेंगे. ये मतलब ऑल द कंट्रीज अक्रॉस ग्लोब, मोस्ट ऑफ द कंट्रीज कॉप में आते हैं and they meet every year, they discuss the problem, they come there and talk how to reduce the impact of climate change, how to move towards the issue of climate change. The core idea, सबसे बड़ा कल्प्रिट जो है वो है कार्बन. तो पूरा डिस्कशन कार्बन पे चलेगा ऑल दी स्कोप में. सो कार्बन रिलेटेड क्वेश्चंस यू विल सी एवरी ईयर बिकॉज ये सबसे बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है हमारी कार्बन की. कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड जो रिलीज होता है, ग्लोबल वार्मिंग एंड ग्रीन हाउस गैस इम्पैक्ट. सो कॉप मीटिंग्स में एवरी ईयर, जनरली मोस्टली इन नवंबर. सो दिस नवंबर फ्यू मंथ्स बैक देयर वाज कॉप 30, मतलब 30th टाइम कॉप मीटिंग हुई है इन ब्राजील. सो अलग अलग कंट्रीज में होती है ये मीटिंग. इट इज नॉट फिक्स्ड. वी विल स्टडी व्हाट आर द रीजंस एंड हाउ ऑल दिस थिंग इज डन. बट ओके, इज देयर नेटवर्क इशू? Am I audible? Please confirm. Okay. Okay, okay, all good. So generally in November, there is a COP meeting, Conference of Parties, where all the countries, leaders of the countries will come and discuss the issues and the solutions. They will provide some solution to it. So अभी COP 30 हुआ है, 2026 में 31 हो जाएगा. So now if you read newspaper, if you guys are reading newspaper, you will read something about COP 30 entire year. There will be some mentions because it is very important. COP environment के current affair में क्या पढ़ना चाहिए? First thing you should read is COP. So if somebody is giving this year's prelims, I will say ये COP 30 पूरा पता होना चाहिए. If you are appearing for 2027, आपको COP 31 properly prepare करना. So when in November COP meeting will happen, you need to follow it, you need to read it. After COP completes, 5-6 दिन चलता है, almost a week. उसके बाद properly in the newspapers and the magazines this COP will be covered. ये current affair में पढ़ना है. So ऐसा लगता है बड़ा डायनामिक है, भागना है, ऐसा नहीं है. There is a method. See here the question in COP 28 पे question पूछा है, right? Because it is a most important meeting. And then there is a carbon markets and these all the mechanisms that are discussed under COP meetings. COP में किसी एक COP में carbon market की बात हुई होगी. This was discussed in I think COP 3. And then there is also, see again, Article 6 Paris Agreement, ये भी किसी एक COP 15 में इसकी बात हुई थी. तो हमें ये समझ आ रहा है कि क्लाइमेट चेंज में वन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट थीम इज UNFCCC का COP मीटिंग्स और एंड द carbon related things, carbon market, how to reduce the issues of carbon. And इसके साथ आप ऐसे ऐड कर लो international conventions. So this is the climate change का one of the theme, that international convention में there is a problem of climate change that is being discussed. Okay, see Global Alliance for Climate Smart Agriculture. So there is some alliance where agriculture के लिए they are trying to make it. Then there is climate neutral now. So initiatives to fight climate change. Okay. So if there is some initiative which is very famous, see here the challenge comes because every small country, organization, everybody is trying at their level to fight the issue of climate change and to reduce the impact. However, we cannot chase everything. The most important thing that you need to know is the COP meeting and its outcome. And if there is some big initiative taken by Government of India, for example, there is a mission called Mission Life. Have you guys heard of this mission? Let me know. This is a mission that our Honorable Prime Minister has promoted a lot. No, ma'am. Nahi suna hai? Anybody? No. Okay. No problem. This means lifestyle. Lifestyle for environment. Okay. So this is Mission Life by India. And this idea is very simple. You have to, in your daily life, be more environment friendly. So there is a concept given, pro planet people. So syllabus bhi theek hai. Let's take one life lesson from today's session. Let's try to become pro planet people. Okay, this is P3. So under Mission Life, it is said that अगर आप market जा रहे हो, सब्जी लेने जा रहे हो, don't carry a plastic bag or don't ask a vendor to give you a plastic bag. Carry your jute bag or a cloth bag. This kind of extra बेवजह आप tap on मत रखो. Don't like keep the switches on, lights on, etc. So efficient utilization of resources, becoming a pro-planet people, caring for our Mother Earth. This is the very simple idea given by our Honorable Prime Minister under Mission Life. तो ये Government of India का mission है and it was very popularized in the year 22-23. और हमें as a citizen, aware citizen, हमें at least pro-planet people बनना चाहिए. तो इस session से एक और चीज which I would want you to take is try to become a pro-planet person. एंड ट्राई टू अडेप्ट मिशन लाइफ. जितना हो सके एनवायरमेंट को प्रोटेक्ट करो. एंड ये एक और तरह से हेल्प करेगा, थोड़ा सा सिलेबस कम होगा. नहीं तो जितना क्लाइमेट चेंज बढ़ेगा उतनी टेक्नोलॉजी उतने कन्वेंशन. सो आई होप वील बी एबल टू टेक सम लाइफ लेसन्स फ्रॉम इट. सो सच थिंग्स. ओके, कमिंग बैक, इनिशिएटिव्स वी नीड टू फॉलो फॉर क्लाइमेट चेंज. There is one more theme that I would like to discuss. Climate change mein, if there are some technologies. Actually, initiatives means technologies, clean technology. And it is overlapping with pollution and climate change both. So there are sometimes technologies being discussed that how we can reach the climate neutral or carbon neutral level. That you can reach, or as a country we can reach, if we move towards the renewable energy. For example, solar, or wind, all these things. So that is how clean technology can help. And clean technology becomes one of the important aspect because pollution hai, climate change hai. So we need to understand the problem and we need to read on the proposed solutions that are there. So this is how the syllabus is. So I hope the prelim syllabus, 3 major topics and the smaller themes under it is clear to all of you. Let me know if it is clear, yes or no. Is it making sense? Okay. 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 So last part I said the climate change, we need clean technology also to fight the climate change. So that is why the questions or the development with respect to clean technology, for example, using hydrogen fuel cell or solar energy, these should also be read with the climate change, its impact and solution. As a part of solution, you need to read this clean technology initiatives also. And to answer your question, Shubham, every question cannot be classified under a particular theme. Most of the question can be, but not all. There can be some random question in environment, and in fact in the UPSC prelims paper, in every subject, there may be some random question, but you cannot classify it. But to prepare your strategy, you need to have some broad themes where maximum number of questions are asked. Don't chase those 1-2 questions. So we can try to classify the question. For example, some animal behavior can be classified into biodiversity, but that can be a difficult question. So you can put it in a miscellaneous topic, or the term, sometimes a simple term comes. For example, there was a question on what is Miyawaki technology. So maybe this was in a news or some examiner would have read it. ये जापान की एक टेक्नोलॉजी है, तो हो सकता है एग्जामिनर जापान गए, उन्होंने देख लिया और फिर लगा कि चलो पूछ लेते हैं क्वेश्चन. These are, you know, if you have read it, maybe किसी न्यूज़पेपर में भी था ये, this was in the newspaper, and if you have read it, तो ठीक है, नहीं पढ़ा है तो कोई बात नहीं, यू कैन लीव सच रैंडम क्वेश्चंस एंड यू कैन क्लासिफाई इट अंडर वन ऑफ द थीम्स और यू कैन पुट इट एज अ मिसcellaneous टॉपिक्स, बट वी नीड नॉट टू रन बिहाइंड द मिसcellaneous. ओके, हाउ मेनी कॉप्स शुड वी नो, ये करते हैं डिस्कस. ओके, ये अभी आई थिंक व्हेन यू स्टार्ट योर प्रिपरेशन, यू विल, व्हेन यू स्टार्ट योर प्रिपरेशन यू विल फॉलो द सोर्सेज, यू विल अंडरस्टैंड द रीसेंट कॉप फॉर श्योर. हाउ मेनी कॉप्स का आंसर मैं कर देती हूँ. सॉरी. ओके, सो नंबर ऑफ कॉप्स ना, इसका आंसर बहुत सिंपल है. डोंट सी, द वर्स्ट थिंग यू कैन डू इन दिस प्रिपरेशन इज कॉम्प्लिकेट थिंग, एंड द बेस्ट थिंग you can do is simplify most important ones. See, if you are aware of the subject, if you have studied the subject, ये थोड़ा high level का question है, this is not a beginner question. So I will just give you a overview, most important COPs. Just for example, COP 3, COP 21. These are some most important COPs. क्या है, क्यों है, छोड़ दो. There are some 1, 2, 3 COPs that are very important, that were like most famous, or some great things were discussed. And the latest one is the most important. For example, if you're appearing for 2027, for you COP 31 is going to be the most important one. And latest के पहले के दो, because it is a evolving process. See, something was discussed in COP 29. This is the issue, and we will meet again in COP 30 and we will discuss. So that was finalized in COP 30. So that is how the process is. It is evolving. Meeting हुआ, आज चीजें complete नहीं हुई. For example, we are meeting today. आज आपको ये webinar में few things you wanted to know, और वो नहीं कवर हो पाया, then we will sit again, we'll meet again, you will follow up on that. तो उस तरह से होती हैं चीजें, that the latest COP and the previous two COPs. These are the important ones and the most important, where big decisions were taken historically. ये आपका static का part बनता है. This is static. तो the dynamism issue जो discuss किया जाता है environment के साथ, it is not that dynamic. ये static हो जाता है. In fact, जो COP 30 हो गया है, these two are also static. ये आपके notes में और the book standard book के latest editions में होना चाहिए. So these must be covered in the notes, and the latest COP you can cover from the current affair, newspaper or magazines, that we will discuss in few minutes. Okay. Ramraj, does this answer your question? Okay, great. Chalo. I hope it helps others also to understand, because this is a very big problem, that how many COPs, क्योंकि 30 हैं, तो पूरे 30 and all the outcomes याद करना, it is not possible. So what you can do, just most important and the latest 3 किया तो बहुत है. Okay. So to summarize for you guys, what are the major topics? These are the topics. सबसे ज़्यादा questions from biodiversity. This is very important, where animal behavior, conservation and everything. Then conventions like UNFCCC, Paris Agreement. Then there are questions on law, which our country makes some laws on that. For example, there is one very important law, Environment Protection Act. So this is the most important law with respect to environment. So इसके अंदर एक आध question आते हैं, that I will show from the PY, क्योंकि कैसे even law prepare करना भी, laws and policies prepare करना is not that difficult. It is static part. You need to read it just once, and if there are some updates, amendments, then you need to prepare if it is in current affair. And that too, most important laws, not all. Then there is pollution that we discussed. There is some overlap with agriculture and flora. थोड़ा बहुत overlap होता है. So this sometimes you study with geography agriculture, environment agriculture. This is overlap. Then climate change also we discussed, the new technologies and everything. And under this, these are some miscellaneous topics like renewable energy, protected areas, terms in news, the one I discussed, Miyawaki, then ecosystem definition and some forest details. So these are some fringe topics. We need to focus on biodiversity, conventions, laws, and pollution. These are 4-5 themes that you need to prepare to get the good number of questions correct from environment. So now let's talk how many questions and what is the difficulty level. So this is how the difficulty level is of this examination. Easy questions. Suppose if we take it 20 questions, round figure, or let's take 18 average है. So 18 questions are there. उसमें से 50% easy है, मतलब 9 questions are medium है. So 9 questions are going to be medium, and this medium is little on a tougher side. It is not going to be very easy, but it is going to medium which you can solve if you have seriously prepared this subject in an organized manner, and if you have done the work, you will be able to understand these questions. तो ये 9 में से I am not even asking you to get all these 9 correct. If you get 7 correct, and easy question will be suppose 5 and hard question will be 4. I am saying hard का आपको 0 सही करना है. Let me just take away your anxiety. एक भी सही मत करो. Skip all these questions. क्योंकि these are those questions which are random. Even the person who has done a lot of work in environment, सालों से पढ़ा है, research किया, they'll also not be able to answer it. So these 4, you don't make any right. It's fine. You skip all of this, 0. But what you need to do is make these easy wale 4. I want 5, but at least 4. 4 से नीचे नहीं. So 5 on 5. So if you are able to do this, and if you can get 11 or 12 right in environment, believe me, you are going to even clear the forest cutoff. ये और ये doable है, ऐसा नहीं है. And I will show you how. I will show you some observation. This is doable. See, as soon as you understand कि ये 4 तो करने ही नहीं है, your pressure is reduced. ये burden ही नहीं लेना है. और ये 5 तो इतने easy होंगे that you will be able to do it if you have prepared. And ये 9 में से थोड़े efforts करके 6, 7 भी चल जाएंगे. अगर यहाँ पे 5 कर लिया तो यहाँ पे एक और chance मिल जाएगा. ठीक है? So this is how you need to approach this subject. You need not to run behind every question. See, for example, अगर पॉलिटी में 20 क्वेश्चंस आते हैं तो आपको 17, 18 राइट करना पड़ेगा. मॉडर्न हिस्ट्री में भी यही है. ज्योग्राफी, इकोनॉमी, यू नीड टू, दीज आर स्टैटिक सब्जेक्ट, यहाँ पे थोड़ा करना है. बट 18 में से 11, बिलीव मी, इट इज वेरी गुड नंबर. सो दैट इज वाई. बट ये 11 करने के लिए भी प्रिपेयर करना पड़ेगा. अदरवाइज 1 और 2 कर सकते हो आप. ओके, ठीक है. सो इज इट क्लियर दैट यू नीड नॉट टू रन बिहाइंड एवरी क्वेश्चन, एंड स्पेशली हार्ड क्वेश्चन. Don't run behind the hard question. Leave them, leave the random ones, and make sure that you don't miss any easy question. Make sure that you mark all the easy questions correct. Okay. And in medium, you can try to get 6 or 7 correct. And let me help you by giving the cutoff. See, the cutoff of UPSC Prelims has reduced, and it is close to in 80s. See, 87. This was exceptional year 2023 where the cutoff went 75. It was an exceptional year, and this year the cutoff was 92. So you don't even need to get 50 questions right. Okay, this is as simple as that. Jitna simplify karoge, you will have, your life will be easy. So don't make the process complicated. In this 50, if you can get 10 from environment, that will be a great thing. You will definitely cross the 100 borderline. So you will cross the 100 mark line also. So don't worry, you need not to get all the questions right. 100 में से 50 right करना है net. So you have that space to make mistakes also. However, this is how you can approach and how you can look at the subject. Okay, is it clear? So yes, for the okay, 2026 prelims ka okay. This is a topic. It is just 2 months. So for environment, what you can do is the latest cop, the same strategy. The same strategy you need to follow. Revise your static, do theme wise, and do the latest cop and the most important news that is there. For 2026, I will see if possible, I will have some strategy for environment. Okay. The cutoff I have shown is for general category. Okay. 2028 aspirants are there. So this is the base strategy. If you follow it, it is going to be it is going to apply for 27 and 28 all the attempts. For 26, we need to have a little more focus and more intensity. That I will discuss separately because this session is for 27 people. Okay. Makes sense? Is this reducing your energy, anxiety? That you just need to get 10, 11 questions right from 18. Tell me yes or no. Okay. Okay. So let's try to get how we can solve those 10, 11 questions. I will make it more easy for you. The subject looks so difficult. Let me try to make it even easier for you. So first, let me show the intersubjective concepts that is required and why this subject needs a little understanding of other subject. For example, overlap with geography. Let me show. So this was a question. These are the question from the official paper of UPSC Prelims. So there was a question on these tiger reserves or the national park, but it was asking the link between Eastern Ghat or the Western Ghat. So Eastern Ghat, Western Ghat, all this detail, they're linking the hills, forest, we read in geography. So it can be well categorized as a geography question also. However, environment faculty or environment person or the environment books will have these names, and it will also give you the location that Satyamangalam Tiger Reserve's location is here, there. So this is a geography question or environment. I would say both. You need to have a base of geography and then you need to build environment over it. Okay. Similarly, look here. It is asking the temperate alpine zone. Which of the national park lies in temperate alpine zone? So you need to know the places where these national parks are there, and then you will be able to understand where the temperate alpine zone, which national park is there. Okay. And this, what is temperate zone, what is alpine zone, this you read in detail in geography. These are the climatic zones that is taught in the subject of geography. Okay. So this is how the overlap is there. This is the observation from PYQ that I am showing it to you. So thoda bahut geography concepts will also help you to get the environmental answer. Now the same thing with respect to environment or science. Okay. So this is a question. These are the recent years question, 24 or 25's question. It is asking about cathodes. So I'm sure you guys must have studied in your 9th, 10th about anode, cathodes in science, chemistry lectures. And these are the elements given. And how many of these can be used at cathodes? So why it can be an environment question or science question. See, these are the scientific concept, but the context of it is actually a clean technology or e-vehicles. That is why it is in news. That is why the policies are coming. So this can be very well categorized in both the subjects, and the knowledge of both the subject can help you. Similarly, this question with respect to fuel cell electric vehicle. Okay. So here also, this fuel cell electric vehicle, why the question came, context is clean energy, but mechanism science. Okay, so this is how the overlap is seen. This is the observation from PYQ. So you need to build a base of the subjects and then build the environmental concepts over it. Okay. Now let me tell you what I was saying with the idea that you need to get 0 hard questions, right? Or you need not to attempt any hard question. So suppose we saw that species questions come in examination. So there are some static that you will be taught in the course, or you will find it in your standard sources. They'll be famous or static species. For example, lions or the cheetahs. These, their characteristics, their nature, all of this is given in a book or notes or in the course. And here is a question of aquatic animal of India. By the way, can anybody answer this question? Which one of the following is the national aquatic animal of India? Let me see if you guys know this GK. If you have questions, put it in Q&A. I will see at the end. Any question you can put. Chat may we are having a lot of discussions and I'm interacting with you all. Okay. Wow. I am so proud of you all. Very happy to see that your GK is very good. You are aware. Have you guys prepared already for the session? कि ma'am questions पूछेंगे and we will be answering. I am very impressed with the answers. Okay. Okay. So yes, it is correct. So see, such questions you did not even need a special preparation. And so there are some easy questions. You can get it right any day if you are a serious, aware citizen, curious citizen. And there are some things about lions, cheetahs that are taught in the static book. For this, you have to read a little, but you will be able to mark this right. So these are your green flags. These you must make right. You cannot make mistake. Otherwise, यहाँ पे compensate करना पड़ेगा, which is very difficult. So the random or the dynamic or unheard thing, what you need to do, simply skip it. For example, this cicada frog hopper. If you know by any chance, you have read this somewhere, you're interested in maybe animal behaviors, you watch the documentaries or all those things, then you can mark this answer. Or if you just have information from somewhere. However, if you don't, then skip it. Don't take risk on such questions. These are random और किसी को नहीं आता. Nobody in the exam knows. Everybody is just guessing. So such random you can skip, or if there is some sense or some logic, you can mark it. And see, this is also a question, peacock tarantula. So if you are aware of this species, you have watched some web series or something where these things have been mentioned and you have heard, then it's fine. Okay. So these are the species question, and the famous one, static one, you must get right. And the random ones, if you're lucky enough or you're aware enough, interested enough, and you're getting it right, it's cherry on the cake, great. So you will reach that 11 to 12 or 13, that number of the questions in environment. So these are the questions that I wanted to demonstrate, that don't run behind such things, run behind such things, prepare these things, okay? There is a question, National Geographic channels. It does, but if you have time, it is your hobby and you can manage, then you should watch it as a hobby. But usme time nahi dena that you will get all the information and the question will come. Don't chase that. We have to read the static books. Okay. Okay. Now, repetition dikhte hain. So it is going to help you get that one or two question correct. See, this is 2020 question. This is 2022. Just 2 years in the gap of 2 years, the question is repeated. And I think the bare minimum is doing 5 years PYQ. This is the bare minimum. If you can do 15 years, very good. 10 to 15 years is good, but 5 years is bare minimum. So 22, if you appear, like the people appearing for 22, the serious candidates, they would have done the 5 years PYQ. And this question was like the easiest question for them. Why? Let me show. Look at the second statement. CGWA was formed under Environment Protection Act. Okay, this is a statement. Let's read this question. Which of the following has been constituted under EPA? So अपने को क्या ढूंढना है? CGWA, Central Ground Water Authority, this thing. So CGWA. See, this statement is directly here. Just the format. This is the exact repetition. अब मतलब इससे ज्यादा क्या चाहिए? What more you want? This is the exact thing. And in the span of just 2 years. So this is, and there are more questions. This is just one instance. I will try to get such PYQ repetition, theme repetition to show that it is not that difficult if you do the PYQ. For environment, PYQs are very, very important. It is like most important for environment. First, to understand the theme, and second, to understand the repetition or the thematic patterns that they get repeated. And here the exact statement is repeated, right? So this is how you can get this easy question right. So यहाँ पे one तो is the gifted to you. Now for the environment, what you need, this thing that I started my session with, that common sense and logical thinking. I'm not saying that this is some elimination or anything. These are the things, such questions appear every year in the examination. These are just 3 instances. I can show you such almost 10 instances in 10 years. Such questions are there. And these fall in the environment section. For example, these are what? These are the biodiversities. How under the biodiversity, if you want to classify, turtle is here, mushroom, it is a flora, and here some microorganisms are mentioned here. Okay, so here microorganisms are mentioned. So what it is saying, this question, how to apply common sense, I'll demonstrate. Some species of turtles are herbivore. ठीक है, see, there can be thousands of species of turtles. among those 1,000, even if 1, 2, 5, 10 are herbivore, it is possible. It can be correct. This is a common logical thinking. For example, if we apply some similar logic on humans, some humans are honest, some humans are dishonest. This is true, right? Maybe 70% people are honest, 30% are not. So maybe some turtle are herbivores, some are not. Similarly, some are fishes are, some marine animals are, some snakes are. So this is common sense. Yeah, some maybe. Who knows? And we have not discovered all the species yet. So maybe some undiscovered species is herbivore. Who knows? So examiner cannot do this without knowing that all the species are herbivore or not. So there are undiscovered species also. So here environment helps you if you have the common sense that the species are undiscovered and there are biodiversity. Diverse means अलग-अलग behavior है. The many species are behaving differently. So that common sense will help. Same here, some mushroom have medicinal properties. मतलब होगा मशरूम में. And what is the meaning of medicinal property? मशरूम में विटामिन डी होता है, ठीक है, मेडिसिनल प्रॉपर्टी हो गई. There may be some medicinal property, and it's not saying all the mushrooms खा लिया so you will get the medicinal. No, some of the mushrooms have, some of the mushrooms. So such type of questions generally, like these are some examples for you. There can be some other questions where you can use your common sense and logic. And when I will take the course of environment, this is what my focus will be, because this subject requires a lot of strategical and logical thinking. So I will teach a concept. I generally follow that method. I just had a batch, I completed the batch in February, where while teaching the conventions, I taught them strategic way on how to think in the exam, how to eliminate, how to get the answers, despite not being very sure. So this is important in environment. For example, let me give you a very interesting idea. So suppose for the funding is the biggest problem. Even logically, if you think, nobody gives fund to anybody. पैसा मांगना मतलब it's one of the most difficult thing. कोई पैसा दे ही नहीं रहा. So funding very rare. It is a very rare phenomena. If there is a question that this organization gives all the funding or gives $100 billion, $1,000 billion, generally it is not correct. And also, if there is a word called facility. For example, there is one very famous environmental organization called GEF. This is a little advanced level, but still I would like to ask, is there anybody who is aware what GEF is? Okay. This is a global environment facility. So this is one facility, but this facility means actually fund. Facility means fund as in wherever this word facility comes, its work is to arrange the funds or manage the financial mechanism for the organization. So if you see the word facility, for example, this word came, yes, excellent, Akshaya, global environment facility. Excellent answer, this is right. So the word facility, so I will teach global environment facility. I taught this to my student that there is a fund, there is an mechanism called global environment facility. And if you see the word facility in your head, you start thinking it is something related to finances. Okay, so this came, I think, in the first COP itself in 1992. There was some one very famous COP meeting in Rio, Brazil that started, and this fund was there. And let me tell you, in COP 30 in 2025, there is another facility that is created, tropical forest facility something. Yes, excellent, Ambika. Tropical forest forever facility, TFFF. So this is the recent COP. So if I have taught you this static, and for example, let it be, today I am teaching you that whenever the word facility you see, and if you're not sure, think in the direction of funding. And suppose in COP 32, COP 40, I hope you don't get that much time, but COP 31 or 32, if some word like facility comes, suppose there is CCF, climate change facility, something like that comes, or TCCF, anything, then you can think this facility is about fund. Because you cannot prepare everything, but you can prepare your mindset. You can be aware, okay, I had studied GEF in 1992, and then again there is some more facilities, and all these facilities are doing the funding work. Then TFFF would be something related to funding, and this is related to tropical forest funding work. Okay, so did you guys enjoy this insights? Is it something interesting, new? Okay, great. Okay. So finally, what are the learnings? We need to do the basic concept. We need to do the pollution part, biodiversity and conservation, climate change, then convention and legislations, right? These we have learned from where? By breaking down the syllabus. And these are the in a structured manner, which I had explained you earlier, that you read the basic concept, what is environment, then you understand what are the pollutions to the environment, then how this pollution is impacting biodiversity and how to conserve it, and then climate change in itself, why, how, what are the new technologies, and how to fight the issue of climate change by at international level, and then implementing those discussion at the national level through the legislations, acts, and policies. This is how the structure should be, and this is how I also teach in this structure, so that it flows. The subject understanding will flow very smoothly in your mind, and you will be able to build. For example, here you will understand that there is a biodiversity issues and everything going. And then I will tell something like there is a convention on biodiversity, which is called CBD. This is Convention on Biodiversity. Okay. So why it is done, why this convention or this mechanism came? Because there is some biodiversity that is getting affected. And then from this CBD, what India has done, we have passed another act called Biodiversity Act of 2002. So after being party to some convention, we go at the global level, we talk, we agree, okay, it is making sense, the biodiversity at risk, and we at our own level ratify it and make legislations and acts. Okay, so after international conventions, we make acts, and in our own capacity also, we make some policies and acts. So that is why you need to study it in this structured manner and in this flow. So even if you're following some book, standard books, or from some notes, you need to try to follow this pattern. It will help you build logic and understanding and make the subject look little structured and easy. Okay. So prelims and the major concepts, everything is clear. Let me know, yes or no. Okay. Okay. So environment, if you prepare well for prelims, it will help you in mains. Okay. So because most of the part, it is more vast and diverse for prelims examination. However, if you have prepared well, it is the basic common for both. So if you have prepared well, it will help you in the mains also, and you don't need a separate book list or anything. Okay. So this is a GS3 syllabus, this side. It has the subjects like, it has the subjects like economy, this is economy. Then there is something, the subject of agriculture. Then this is a subject of science. And then this one line is for environment, which is here. Okay. And this is internal security. So these are the subjects under GS3, environment and disaster management is here. So again, they have given us 3 keywords: conservation, environmental pollution, and degradation. This is one term. This is the second. This is the first term. This is the second term. And this is the third term. And environmental impact assessment. ये mains का syllabus है. This is our main syllabus. 3 points again. 3 points in the prelim syllabus. 3 points in the mains. So what is the weightage and where it comes? Let me show you. So in GS3, generally there are 5 major subparts, and each subpart is of 50 marks. So this is economy is 50, agriculture is 50, science is 50, environment and disaster management together is 50. So इसमें environment is generally 35 to 40 marks. Okay. And then there is internal security. So this is the weightage of environment, and there are generally 3 questions specifically on environment and 1 question on disaster management. Okay. Now, let's understand the syllabus of mains also. So one part, and you will know that what you had studied in prelims or for the prelims, it will help you. What you need for mains is going through the dynamic developments like the current affair COP meetings, one, and second, answer writing skill. For that, you need to build it over time. You need not to worry now, today, when you're planning and preparing. But if you prepare your concepts well, you will be able to develop the answer writing strategy also. Okay. So syllabus point number one is conservation. What kind of conservation? There is something related to water conservation is asked. Then there is wetland conservation is there. See, wetland we saw was a theme in prelims also. So we will read about what is wetland, what is Ramsar and everything. That is the part of static. Okay. So there is the conservation of wetland, and then there is conservation strategies under the Paris Agreement. So how conservation is a wide. Now here the initiatives started by the government of India, initiatives at a global level, are commitments for the conservation of environment and biodiversity. Everything is included. It is very vast, and just one keyword is given. Under this, so many questions are asked. So what is our commitment and how we are going to protect the environment or conserve the environment? Such questions are asked. Okay. Then pollution is one of the most important. In recent times, pollution, the number of questions asked on the topic of pollution, and let me tell you, on the air pollution is very, is increasing, and it is the most important theme. Air pollution is very, very important theme. Okay. So environmental pollution and degradation. This was theme 2 of mains. So what is the, see, National Clean Air Program is asked. Then here industrial pollution of river is asked, and then there is a special question on oil pollution. So this would have been in news that there is some ship going on and there is spill and oil pollution, and it is causing impact on the ecosystem and all. So this mains में little dynamism is there for the main subject. However, your static is very important. If you have the static base, you will build and understand the current then only. Unless you don't know what is COP, you'll not able to follow what is COP 30 and what is being discussed. You need to first understand how these conventions came, what is the history behind it, and then you can understand the current. Okay. So on pollution and degradation, there are questions like air pollution, water pollution, etc. Now, this is one of the most static and predictable part of environment impact assessment. So alternate years or in 3 years, one question comes very simply, that what is EIA, how NGOs, what role NGOs play, and everything that comes in the examination. So what you can do, this subject, this topic you can prepare in detail. It will take 1 day of effort, and you can prepare a very good notes on the EIA. You can visit the website of the ministry, or on our website also, we have GS3 environment notes. It was prepared by Krishna sir. We have a handbook where environment impact assessment, few pages are present. You can read that in 1 day. You can add some data facts about EIA, and you'll be done. This is just 1 day preparation topic. And mains ka, there is a chance that a 10 marker or a 15 marker is asked in your year. So this is one of the most static topic that you can read. So environment impact assessment. Basically, as the name suggests, it is a mechanism through which the impact of a project can be assessed. The environmental impact can be assessed of a project. For example, a highway is being developed or something, how much impact it will create on the environment can be assessed through this. Okay. And as I showed in the prelims, that there is a overlap. And prelims में थोड़ा difficult लगता है, but for mains it's a blessing that if you read environment well, you will be able to solve many questions in a more, you will write better answers, higher quality answers in the subjects, other subject. So on the face of it, if you read these questions, I'll give you a minute to read this question, and do read these questions. Let me wait for you all. Once you have read these questions, just tell me done in the chat, and then I will ask you one more question. Okay, if you're reading it, tell me done. Okay. So what do you think? Which subject, which GS part these questions are from? And if you don't know what it looks like, just tell me that. Isn't it like GS3 environment question? Okay, right. The word climate change is written in environment syllabus, right? GS3 lag raha hai, right? Climate change, sea level rise, island nations, how it is affecting the island nation and everything. All these we read in environment, that how climate change. Okay, somebody is saying GS2 geography. First of all, geography is not in GS2, it is in GS1. But yes, it is having a overlap with geography. So these questions are from the GS1 paper of 2025 itself, the recent paper that was conducted in August. So the keyword climate change, sea level rise, all these are from the environment syllabus, but it was asked in GS1. It is overlapping. It is overlapping with the geography and other papers also. However, here you can give some geographical aspect and you can have an environmental aspect also. So this will enrich your answer and give you multi-dimensional effect. Okay. Now see here, ecological and economic benefit of solar energy. This also came in GS1, but renewable energy or the climate change clean technology is prepared generally for GS3. So now UPSC is not distinguishing between geography or environment. And let me give you a logical reason behind that. See, environment is affecting our lives on a regular basis. Environment and climate change is affecting everything in life, even our living, our social impact and everything. So the questions will definitely have environmental and climate change angle in every subject. So we have to understand that this is a thing which is very important and it is affecting us. For example, AI. AI is not limited to any specific subject now. It is not limited to just some uh, it is now can be applied in history also. Like we are figuring out, we are reading the historical data, translating and manuscripts, everything we can read it. And maybe political, we are using in courts, AI based things, we can use something. So how AI is impacting society. So similarly, climate change, how it is impacting. So the solar energy question, this looks like a GS3 but came in GS1. And this is one of the most interesting question, that environmental sustainable growth, achieving sustainable growth with emphasis on environmental protection could come into conflict with poor people's need. Actually, this is also GS1 and it is a society question. So there is environmental sociology or society, right? And this we study in environment also as a principle of CBDR RC. Is there anybody aware of these keywords term? I am asking so many keywords and terms, but I want your active participation. Not aware. Very good that you're saying that you're not aware. Anybody who is aware? No. No, ma'am. Okay. This means common. Okay. Somebody has answered common but differential responsibility and respective capabilities. Great. So some of you know the answers, very good. And some of you, those who don't know, so I will explain. This is CBDR, common but differential responsibility and respective capabilities. It means that climate change and sustainable growth is common goal. However, the responsibilities are different for different parties, because the poor countries of Africa cannot give that much financial resources as European countries can give. So some countries who are developed can put in more resources, more financial support. That is why the roles and responsibilities are different. However, our goal is same. So this is the idea. And the question is on this theme. So if you have studied environment properly, you can give this dimension. This is a 15 marker. You can give one dimension. Okay. So this is the overlap in mains. So environmental knowledge can help you in tackling and giving a dimension in other papers also. And this is, I will just give you a brief about it. This is ethics GS4. And let me tell you, every year there is one case study which is environmental case study. So I will not read, and neither will I tell you to read such a big case study. I will just show that, see, what are the question. This is the question is about deforestation can be ethically justified, and if there is socio-economic administration balancing environment. So economy versus ecology is a very big dilemma that we face. And this dilemma generally is asked in GS4 ethics paper. Okay. So it is also something called environmental ethics. Okay. So if you are aware, suppose if there is a question, can deforestation be ethically justified, etc., we can use the idea of environment impact assessment. If some project which we are developing is giving how much impact it is causing on environment, if we assess that, we will be able to answer this question. Can the deforestation can be done justified or not? Okay, so if you are aware of EIA, which we will read in environment, you can answer this question in a more structured or in a more appropriate manner. Okay. Is it making sense? Now, have you understood how the environment is overlapping in mains as well as in prelims to multiple subjects? Okay. Okay. So for mains, what are the learnings? You need to do the static. Then you have to look at the PYQs, air pollution, water pollutions, and what are the themes that I have demonstrated, and the dynamic topics that are in news that are very famous and that is generally covered in the magazines and newspapers. So for mains, these are the things that you need to take in. Now, the most important question that many of you have started asking from the beginning of the session itself, sources. And yeah, one of the biggest problem with environment. So sources are generally divided into static and dynamic, right? So for static, what we need to do, my advice that first prepare static well. Your static should be strong, and then only you can understand the dynamic concepts. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. Because if you don't understand what is UNFCCC, how will you understand what is COP30? Right? You will not understand. If you don't understand what is climate change, how will you understand the policies and mitigation technologies? So first understand, build the static, and then dynamic will become very easy for you. And static also, see, COP30, if you are appearing for 2027, COP30 you will study as a part of static. It will go here. And here some discussions are there. And COP31 will be built over this. That, okay, we discussed all these things in COP30, and in COP31 we are achieving this or targeting this. Okay, so this will become static by next year, and you must read it as a static part. Okay, so make sure that your static is strong, and then you're following the dynamic, and then the dynamic newspaper reading or following the current affair will become very easy if your static is strong. Okay, so let me show you the most important resource. So this is static mein, there is NCERT and standard books that we need to follow. For environment, one NCERT that I will suggest is Biology Class 12. And these are the 4 chapters under the Unit 10 Ecology. These are the 4 chapters that I would request you all to go through and read. And this is one of the best books for environment, the NCERT. Tell me, according to you, which is the best book? Like what is the definition, or which book you find best? Like, is it, if it is interesting, easy, what is the criteria to call some book as a best book or good book for you guys? Let me read your charts and see which books you call best. Easy and according to exam demand. Easy to understand. Easy to understand. Comprehensive, not too technical. Okay, fair enough. इंटरेस्टिंग होना चाहिए. ओके, मैं बताती हूँ. फॉर मी द बेस्ट बुक इज जिससे क्वेश्चन आए एग्जाम में. इफ आई कैन सॉल्व, एक्सलेंट शुभम, आई कैन नॉट अग्री मोर. विच गिव्स मार्क्स? वी वांट मार्क्स. The only thing we care for, of course we do care for environment, but we want marks. We want that अपने एग्जाम में क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं क्या इस बुक से. इंटरेस्ट तो ठीक है, बाद में पढ़ लेंगे. इंटरेस्ट है तो पढ़ लेंगे 10 years डाउन द लाइन, कभी भी पढ़ सकते हैं. बट इफ द क्वेश्चंस आर आस्क्ड, then we can definitely consider it as a good book. There is no best book, makes sense, of course, but there can be some good books which can help in our preparation. So the one answer which I feel most of the answers are right and nice, interesting hona chahiye. It is an interesting book. It has images and everything, but marks dega, so it's a good book. So let me show you a data. This is a snapshot of the book. It is saying that there is a mutual relationship between fig and tree wasp. ठीक है, और ये 24 का ही क्वेश्चन है, डोंट वरी, ज्यादा पुराना नहीं है. There is a question about which one of the following shows unique relationship with an insect that has co-evolved with it and that it has only that is the only insect that can pollinate this tree. इसका आंसर fig है. Here is the image and here is the detail. And this is from the biology book. A question has came. This is a 2024 PYQ of UPSC. Okay. Let me show another. This is a 2023 question papers PYQ. And this was one of the toughest paper. I showed exceptional year 75 cutoff. This is a snapshot of the book. Here, marsupial radiation and some detail. If you read this page, there are some details of marsupials of Australia is mentioned. And here the question is marsupial is given. And it was considered a tough question that year. Many aspirants did not know what marsupials, how, and to solve this question in exam was tough. But if you go through this book, I recommend going through the entire book. If you just flip the entire book, you will learn a lot. And if you have time, you can do that. Right now, what you can do, you go through this book, you will find many good insights. Especially this is a chapter, apart from this chapter, there is a chapter on evolution in this book itself. So here the evolution of animals, fishes, etc. are given. You can go through it. Sometimes a question is directly picked from NCERT. So I recommend reading the entire book, at least flipping the entire book and reading these chapters in detail. But if you can flip it, I would really appreciate it and I recommend that. Okay, so these are the questions that were asked. There are more questions, but I put only two. There was one more question. For example, from this chapter, there was a question on acid rain twice in the examination. And the question we saw about the food chain, the food chain question is present here. So there are questions coming, and this is a very standard yet ignored book, like the subject itself. So I have showed the importance of this book. I hope you all will read it. It is available on NCERT official website. If you don't find it, or NCERT has a habit of removing some chapters or updating the book, but these are the chapters you should read. And we on our UPSC Prep website have all the NCERTs uploaded there. So if you don't find it on NCERT, do visit UPSCprep.com and there you will find the NCERT book. Okay. So after knowing that the questions are coming from the book, how many of you will rely on this source and will read this properly? This NCERT of biology. How many of, okay, Vasudha is going to do it. Well done. Okay, Shubham is also going to read. Okay, Akshaya, Yashika. For sure, Vishesh, very good. I'm coming, Sanjay, I'm coming to that also. We are discussing the basic NCERT first. If you can get 2-3 questions right from NCERT, why not? Oh, great. Vedanshi knew the answer. Okay. She had bio. So everybody, most of you are going to read it. Okay. Now, the standard book. Unfortunately, we do not have a one-stop solution, but these are the two very good books that are available. So one by Shankar IAS publication and the another is PMF IAS publication. These are the two standard sources that can be followed along with these NCERT. Once you complete reading this NCERT, you will have the basic idea clear. एक overall flow you will understand. There is the basic concepts given, pollution, biodiversity, and all these are given very beautifully in these 4 chapters. So do this. Thereafter, you can choose one of these, not both. Shankar IAS is a good book. It will give you the basic idea, but it does not have a lot of images or information. It looks very bland and it looks little outdated also. However, PMF IAS is little, it has more pictures or more visual memory you can build, but these books are little bulky. That is the one problem with the books. But if you understand what to read, which I have decoded in the session. You don't need to read each and everything. You have to keep PYQs and syllabus, these two strategic tools with you, and then read these books. So you can open these books and you can read it, the topics that are most important. I would say I will go with PMF IAS. It is a good source. And Shankar IAS was a very good book, but in the earlier years, like post 2020, the PMF IAS has done well. It is a good book with the images and everything. So this you can go for. But if you like Shankar IAS, if you have referred to it, you have followed this source, stick to it. Your basic static will be covered. So don't change the source if you have followed any of these, or any other source if you have followed and you are able to understand that standard source, you can continue that. You don't need to worry. You just need to see if you're reading that and you're able to solve the questions. That should be the only purpose. One book I want you as a must read is this NCERT. However, for the standard book, you can choose one among these two. Okay. See, I would suggest the latest edition if you can get. I would suggest PMFIS. If I have to choose one, I'll be very honestly I'll be going with PMFIS publication. And both of them, any book you read, both of them have almost similar content. It is just the presentation, but the books are little bulky. So in our course also, we do refer both the books and teach the content and make some handouts, which the most important content handouts we prepare. But you can choose any of these books based on your preference. You can do one thing, you can just open the PDFs or get the books and read it. Whichever looks good to you and your style, you can go with it. And no, these are the standard books and these are not available on our website. You have to go to the official website of these. Okay, we cannot make such books available. These are standard books. That is not a legal practice to do. We can just make the NCERTs and the books that are freely available by government, that we have put it on our website. Okay. Yes, you have to read the topics that are given in the syllabus and you have to get the latest edition, so that the latest cop, for example, if you buy the something 2020 ka publication, the last cop would be cop 20 to 23, but the questions are coming from cop 28 and cop 30. And in current affair, you will read 30, 31. But what about these one? So you will be missing. So that is why get the latest edition of any of these books and you will be good to go. Okay. Okay. So seems like Simon has joined very late or is missed the idea of COP. So the COP is Conference of Parties. This I had explained earlier while explaining the questions in the session, Simon. So you can read on internet what is a COP. Okay. So this is the sources for static. Read this, it will help you a lot. It will get 2-3 questions right and it will build your base to refer these standard books. Okay. Then for the dynamic sources, this subject is dynamic. So what you should do, if you are understood the COP, you understood the issue of pollution in newspaper, if you are reading newspaper, start indexing it. Understand if there is a question on air pollution and government of Delhi or government of India is coming up with some solutions, technologies plan, then it is important for your examination because pollution is a theme. So I have broken down the syllabus for you. So I've broken down the syllabus for you and I've broken down those themes in sub-themes and sub-parts. In newspaper, you can pick those themes and if some article is there, read those. So I personally recommend reading daily newspaper. You can pick any of this, the Hindu or the Indian Express, whichever suits you, the language suits you. If you have started reading, if you have not, you should start reading newspapers. It will help you. Okay. So newspaper you should read and the environmental discussions issues. For example, the meetings, conference of parties for climate change or for some biodiversity. So if you see the issues like biodiversity, some animal is there being introduced, pollution related thing, all these things which are part of our syllabus, if you see it in newspaper, you should read it. You should read it daily. You need not to make notes because if you read the magazines, monthly magazines, we also come up with a magazine core It's a very good magazine where environmental section, you will find a lot of images about the animals, species in news, all the crops, everything. And even it refers to very famous newspapers like Down to Earth or the PIB or the government websites, ministries, everything. So this work is done in this magazine, and most of the magazines available in the market do this task. So monthly magazine will solve that problem. For the for sorry, for that monthly magazines you can follow. So you read the newspaper. So in newspaper you will read about pollution every day, so you will read a developing issue. In magazine you will get a gist of it, the complete picture of it, you will get a snapshot idea of it. Okay, so that is why you should go with the monthly magazine. And why most important part to use this dynamic sources, theme understanding, which we did in this session. I focused most of part of this session on the theme analysis, so that no source can be a trouble for you. If you understand the source, if you understand the theme, you can pick up any source and you can read from it. It will not cause a trouble. If you know you are supposed to read biodiversity, animal behavior conservation, pollution, climate change, these are the topics. In newspaper, if you see these topics, simply read it, make notes if you like to. Otherwise, in the magazine, you read these topics, which are most often repeated themes. Okay, so these are the dynamic sources. So here is the snapshot of all the sources that you need to refer for static NCERTs, standard book, either Shankar IAS or PMF. And for the dynamic or the current affairs, you can go through newspaper, one of these, and the monthly magazine. This is the sources, all the sources that you need. Don't run behind multiple sources. These are going to help you. And along with this, the most important tool is PYQ. For environment, you need to do a PYQ analysis. It is very, very important. If you do this, it will help you to gain marks and you will understand the theme. Many questions get repeated, themes get repeated. And in PYQs, if you find some technology, something, you read about it. PYQ analysis का मतलब नहीं है कि you read the question and answer. If you read, there is something called thermal power plant, carbon market, and it is not there in your static. It must be there, it will be there mostly, but something like Miyawaki came or anything came. So you can simply Google it, you can understand that term, what it is, and then you can note it down or make a separate notes, or you can update your knowledge. Or in the static, if there is one or two keywords is missing, you can write it in your static notes or the book itself. Okay. So along with these sources, PYQ is a must, is the first source, I would say. Okay. Can you suggest books for PYQs? Okay. PYQs के लिए, I would say the best source is go to UPSC website, official website. You will find the previous year question papers there. You can download those question papers and you can try to get the answers of those questions by yourself. You need to read that. You need to read that question paper by yourself. You have to do that work. Nobody can do the analysis for you. There are many publications, many compilations available for the PYQ. You can pick any of it to get the answer and explanation. You can find 10 years in an archive folder of UPSC. There is archive 2016 to 2025 papers are available. 2015 is not available. So today itself go and download all 2016 to 2025 and save it with you. Okay. So there are 10 years paper available. 5 years are there. You will get it, and the another you will get in the archive section of the UPSC website. You search on Google UPSC website, you will find it. And the best place to search the papers is the official papers. You will get the look and feel of it also. So it is best to go there and do the PYQ analysis by yourself. So we have discussed almost everything, how to do it, what to read, from where, when. Now just I will, in last 5 minutes, I will give you some do's and don'ts that you should do and should not do. First thing is to strategize and structure. That I have explained how to strategize and structure. In a structure, I have shown basic concept to the international convention approach that you can do. And then strategy going the thematic manner. And strategizing in for the structure is very important. Okay. PYQ analysis. This is gold advice. You have to do it. If you do PYQ analysis by yourself, you will understand that environment is not that difficult and there are some themes for it. And you can pick those themes. You can even read for those themes on internet, and you will be very good to go, and you will be able to solve many questions in the examination. Okay. For environment, you need to practice quizzes that I explained, that there will be some questions which will need your logical thinking and common sense and answer writing. The basic sources will be same. You will read dynamic current affairs also, but for environment, you need to do the answer writing. That is also a skill. For example, environment, you need to have some data that what is the installed capacity of renewable energy for India, and then you can have some Supreme Court judgment, so like MC Mehta case or something where emphasis on environment is given, some NGOs associated with, some initiatives, a very wonderful initiative I explained today, Mission Life. Such things you need to make data. You have to prepare for your answer writing and use them in your question. So that is the skill of answer writing. You should do this. Don't avoid, don't keep it for the last key. Prelims हो जाएगा फिर करते हैं. You have to practice this. Practice is very important. Okay. And then you need to make your own notes because the standard books are bulky. So what you should do, in fact, I suggest that people say for history you should make timeline. I suggest environmental timeline. So what you can do to remember things, because it is fact heavy, what you can do, you can make timeline for conventions. So international conventions, you can do the first ever convention happened in 1972, then something in 1992, then something in 2002. So like this, many years, something or the other thing happened. So you can make a timeline and you can see the development. So this is how you should go about the environmental timeline. Okay. So you can make your own notes. This will make your task easy. So I recommend making your own notes. Don't rely on somebody else's notes or just the standard book. If you do the work, the subject will become little easier for you. Okay. एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट इज द डोंट्स. डू क्या करना है ठीक है, बट डोंट तो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट. मल्टीपल सोर्सेस. एंड विथ द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ एनवायरमेंट दिस इज अ बिग प्रॉब्लम that someday we'll be reading this compilation, this PDF, this handout. Don't do that. Trust your books, trust your sources, believe in yourself, and do the PYQ. You read your source and then open some paper and try to solve it. If you're unable to solve it, just Google it and see what is the answer, or what was the cutoff that year. Was it a random question, or it was present in your book and you couldn't recall it? Just believe your sources, read your sources, and then try to solve the question. If you are unable to solve it, then find the reason. Is your understanding missing? Changing the source does not change the marks in the examination. Believing in yourself, sticking to it, and preparing it well will give you a better marks and increase your chances. Okay. Then prioritizing current over static. Thinking that environment में तो सिर्फ current ही आता है. ऐसा नहीं है. I showed you one question where the question came EPA 1986. Which body was made? It was CGWA. And this is a question repeated twice or thrice in the examination. This is a static thing, right? This is a static concept. There is something called carbon market. This is a static thing. We can even read it today. This is a static. I can explain it today also. So this is not something dynamic. And if you build your static, then only you will understand what current event is going on. So you need to first build your base over static and then read the current. Okay. And this is the thing that I explained, that you're trying to solve every environment question. This is not required. You just have to solve 10 to 12 question out of 18 question. It will give you good rewards and it will give you a very good marks. This is a subject where you should not try to run behind every question, because this will create problem and you will keep getting confused, and this will increase your anxiety and you will get confused with respect to the subject. Okay. And the most important don't is don't ignore the subject. Some people think let's ignore the entire environment because it is looking difficult. हो ही नहीं रहा है हमसे, we don't know what to do. So don't ignore the subject. Strategize it, thematic manner, some topics, stick to your sources and complete this subject. Okay. So I hope after today you have understood the strategy and themes, and based on that you will prepare your subject of environment and ecology. Okay. So I hope these are the don'ts that you should not do. So did you guys enjoy, listen to everything? Is it making sense? Is the subject looking little more aligned and structured now? Okay. Okay, thank you. So I will take the question and answer. Best book on art and culture. Okay. See, I think we had a art and culture webinar there. I think Rohan sir would have suggested, he would have suggested the art and culture fine arts NCRT. So NCRTs are the best source for the preparation of any subject actually. These are your basics, but NCRT of art and culture is very good, and you have to combine it with the ancient and medieval history. As Rohan sir had said, that you need to study the history along with culture, and then thematic analysis. Nitin Singhania book is quite bulky, so you can read it selectively. Okay, so I will take the Q&A from the Q&A section. Best book for environment, I have already answered that. Specify trouble with the species. That means, like, suppose if there is some environmental issue going on, if global warming or the lake is getting polluted, then the fishes are dying. What is that phenomena and everything? All of these you can consider in troubles with species. Important topics for prelims. Uh, okay. The topics I said already, the static ones and the current affair में COP meetings or some initiatives that are taken. For this year's prelims, it can be a separate topic. For 2027 people, don't worry. Important topics for prelims we will discuss over time. हिंदी मीडियम के लिए भी एनवायरमेंट का सोर्स बता दीजिए प्लीज. आई थिंक द एनसीईआरटी जो हैं वो हिंदी में भी अवेलेबल होंगे. अदर सोर्स आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर. वी हैव टू सी अगर शंकर या पीएमएफ की हिंदी है या नहीं. आई एम नॉट वेरी श्योर अबाउट दैट. आई एम सॉरी. बट हिंदी मीडियम के एनसीईआरटी तो आप फिर भी पढ़ लीजिए. इट इज एनसीईआरटीज आर अवेलेबल इन हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश एंड आई थिंक अदर लैंग्वेजेस. हिंदी एंड इंग्लिश में तो है फॉर श्योर. ओके. We need to complete static portion first or clear our basics, or can we do both static or current simultaneously? Okay, good question. This is Shubham. So as I said, read your static first. You have to make your good static base, and thereafter you need to supply your current affair. So if you're reading daily newspapers and you're starting environment preparation, suppose today, so you will read the basic terms and everything. But since you have understood the theme, that there is some theme like pollution, biodiversity, animals, what you can do, you read it and just keep it, keep referring to such news articles. You read it, but don't make notes. Don't, if you don't understand it, it's okay. When you will read the static portion, then again you go through the monthly magazine or some compilation, and then you will be able to understand it. Or if you are coming across some topic, just be little inquisitive and Google it. So I would suggest first read your static, and if you complete static, for example, if you have read UNFCCC mechanism and you have read all the COP, then the latest one is COP 30, which is not present in your static book. You read it from internet. And if you're making notes, write the COP 30 details in your notes, right? That is how you can go about it. Forest cutoff. Okay, forest cutoff generally is 15 marks above the general civil services cutoff. So if the civil services cutoff is suppose 90 marks, then the forest is 100 plus 102 to 105. So this year's forest cutoff is not released yet. The civil services cutoff was 92. Then I'm assuming forest would be 105 plus. Ma'am, I have already purchased a GS course from another institution. I cannot buy another GS course. Is there any specific course available for environment that I can purchase? Ramraj, actually, we offer the entire essential course. There is nothing separate for environment that we offer. But whichever course you have joined, I hope they will teach well and you can stick to the standard courses. And if you still wish to join our course, you can email the details and we will see if something can be done for you. Okay. Geography, okay, geography and environment. Webinars are available recorded. Yes, we have made the recorded webinars for economy, polity, art, culture, and geography. You can refer to them. You can get them, get the links on our Telegram channel and you can refer them. cover and revise the syllabus first, or consider looking up and analyze the PYQ? It is done actually simultaneously. First, you need to look the way I had explained today. Right? That you need to understand the syllabus and look at the PYQs. So you can Google also. Now the chat GPT and everything is there to help you. Even there is one GPT that Abhijit sir has made. You can use that GPT for prelims, and you can ask, give me environment themes. What are the PYQs? So such things you can ask to AI nowadays. AI has become smart. Okay. Specific PYQs I have told you, go to the website. How many years current is needed? Abhijit sir's GPT name, I am not very sure. Name as in its name is UPSC Prelims GPT something. He has made a video about that also on YouTube. If you go and search uh, Abhijit sir, UPSC Prep, Abhijit sir, Chat GPT, something like that, you will find that video and how to use it. You go on YouTube and search. There is the explanation video by Abhijit sir about the GPT. So that can help you identify themes and etc. Okay, how many years current affair? 1.5 year is good enough for every subject. Monthly magazine UPSC Prep ka is enough. It is enough. Any one magazine, don't run behind multiple. Even if you're reading some other institute, it's okay. Read theirs. Don't run behind multiple. But core magazine, I saw that somebody has given a wonderful feedback that the current affair analysis and the magazine are best source available. So you can go with the core magazine. I have looked at the environment sections myself, and these are very, very good magazines. And these will be enough. Don't run behind current affair. Video lectures or book, it's your approach, Indrajit. I would suggest please read books. Reading helps. At least NCRT you should read. Rest all you can see video, but don't be passive learner. Be an active learner. Make notes even if you're watching a video lectures. Beginner to complete the environment. See, everybody has a different reading speed. So what you can do for NCRT, you're reading those 4 chapters that can be done in 2 days. And for the standard books, it takes generally 15 to 20 days if you're giving full time to one subject. And if you're giving reading 2 subjects simultaneously, it can take more time accordingly. But 15 to 20 days for the standard source, and for the 4 chapters of NCRT, 2 days are good enough for the beginners and the person reading for the first time. Can I avoid monthly magazines? It is better if you read monthly magazines and rather than relying on the year-end compilation like PT 365, because the problem is when the prelims are near, there are so many things to complete. So if you build a habit and consistency of reading the magazines and newspaper every day, you will not be burdened and anxious about the current affair completion, which will come at the end of the year. So it is best to integrate it in your regular preparation. Okay. Is there any more questions? I have answered that, Simon. Standard book for art and culture. You can look at the NCRT of art and culture, fine arts book. That's a very good book. Along with read it ancient and medieval history, and then supplement it with art and culture. Nitin Singhania sir's book is a good book. However, that book is very bulky and should be read selectively based on the thematic analysis of the PYQs. Today's recording, you will be informed on the Telegram channel if the recording is made available, whenever it is made available. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you for joining. If you have any doubt, you can reach out to us at contact@UPSCprep. And if you want to discuss or talk or ask any doubt about environment specifically, you can reach out to me on the emails. You can write your doubts on email. My email is neetu.tiwari@UPSCprep. And for any general doubt, for example, courses or where to find the magazine, you can follow our Telegram channel. About the GPT, you can Google, YouTube it. You will find it there, or you can get it on our Telegram channel. or you can contact at UPSC Prep. Here you can reach out for any general doubt, and we will be answering your queries. We will be helping you regarding courses or any other general doubt with respect to UPSC preparation you have. You can reach out to this, and if you have any queries related to strategy, how to approach prelims, about environment, anything, you can reach out to me at neetu.tiwari. Okay. Okay, then with this, I think I have answered all the questions, and I enjoyed interacting with you all. I hope you all also enjoyed. Uh, okay. For 2029 people, the environment approach can remain the same, and you can follow all the webinars that will help for the later attempts. But 2029 people, just they can start reading the newspaper and getting familiar with the strategies and everything. Okay. Thank you everyone for joining. Okay. So I hope this makes your journey to prepare environment and ecology as a subject becomes easy. And thank you so much for your time, and all the best to everyone. So have a good night. Bye.